Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday I was in Warsaw and Tallinn, reaffirming our commitment to NATO and our solidarity with Ukraine. Putin has gravely miscalculated. In his abhorrent assault on a sovereign nation, he has underestimated the extraordinary fortitude of the Ukrainian people and the unity and resolve of the free world in standing up to his barbarism. The UN General Assembly will vote later today, and we call on every nation to join us in condemning Russia and demanding that Putin turn his tanks around. If instead Putin doubles down, then so shall we, further ratcheting up economic pressure and supporting Ukraine with finance, with weapons and with humanitarian assistance. Today, the Disasters and Emergency Committee is launching its Ukraine appeal, and every pound donated by the British people will be matched by the government, starting with £20 million. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Reb Stewart.
Men, women, children, terrorised, murdered and maimed. Indiscriminate munitions unleashed on civilian populations with a total disregard both for international law and human life. Can my right honourable friend assure the House that we will accelerate the transfer of military supplies to the Ukrainians and maintain this country's proud record of support for refugees fleeing war?
I thank my right honourable friend, and I hope I can say that I speak for the whole House when I spoke to President Volodymyr Zelensky this morning, and I told him, Mr. Speaker, that we would indeed do everything we can to accelerate our transfer of the shipments that he describes, of the weapons that he describes, and the UK, as the House knows, was the first European country to send such defensive weaponry, and we are certainly determined to do everything we can to help Ukrainians fleeing the theatre of conflict.
We now come to the Leader of the Opposition, the Right Honourable Keir Starmer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very glad the Ambassador is here so he can hear me repeat what I've said to him privately on a number of occasions, and that is that this House and this country stand united in our support for the Ukrainian people in the face of Russian aggression. And we're all appalled by the shocking footage that's emerged over the last few days. We must stand up to Putin and those who prop up his regime. Mr. Speaker, Roman Abramovich is the owner of Chelsea Football Club and various other high-value assets in the United Kingdom. He's a person of interest to the Home Office because of his links to the Russian state and his public association with corrupt activity and practices. Last week, the Prime Minister said that Abramovich is facing sanctions. He later corrected the record to say that he isn't. Well, why on earth isn't he?
Mr. Speaker, it's not appropriate for me to comment on individual cases at this stage. But what I can say, and I stand, Mr. Speaker, by what I've said in the House and what we've put on the record. But be in no doubt that the actions that we've already taken, that this House has already taken, are having an effect in Moscow. And by exposing the ownership of properties of companies in the way that we are, by sanctioning 275 individuals, already a further 100 last week, the impact is being felt. And what we will publish in addition, Mr. Speaker, is a full list of all those associated with the Putin regime. Of course, we have already announced sanctions on Putin and Lavrov themselves. I can tell the House that they will have heard what the President of the United States had to say last night. The vice is tightening on the Putin regime, and it will continue to tighten.
Keir Starmer.